Hello, Mama's Fallen Angels. This is Big Robbo, and I am here with Dave Meniketti of the band Y&T, who are going to be busy this summer out on tour early in the summer in Europe and then hitting the States later in the summer. We're going to get to all that, Dave. I want to start out with the new album that was released in May. Face Melter is what it's called. The first album for Y&T in 13 years since Endangered Species in 97. When you and the guys got in the studio, Dave, was it something that kind of came together naturally? Did it take some work, or was it like riding a bike?
Yeah, well, as it turned out, it was more like riding a bike, which is good. I mean, we kind of had a little bit of freaking out at first, thinking, I wonder how it's going to be, but because we hadn't written together for quite some time, but yeah, it was no big deal. Once we started writing, the first week or so, it just started flowing just naturally. So I was like, okay, we're back in business.
One of the things that I've seen, Dave, is, and the album is great, and it has a unique sound, and not unique to guys our age because this is the way we grew up, but the album was basically recorded live in the studio. With the way that technology has changed, the way you can make and produce albums now, Dave, was Pro Tools something that, maybe was approached? Was that something that you guys totally have a disdain for, or something that you might look into? It's cool to me to hear different artists talk about it in different ways. Some really love it, and some really hate it.
Well, yeah, no, I mean, it's a good thing to have. There's no question about it. I mean, we used something similar to that as well. It wasn't Pro Tools, but it's same kind of thing. But just the same, the idea is that, okay, we have the option of overdubbing everything to death, doubling, tripling, quadrupling our guitars, et cetera, putting on tons of background vocals. I mean, it's all there. It's all, ready for you to do whatever you want. And in that regard, it makes it a little easier to do some things, but it also makes it easier for you to overdo it.
Right.
And, that's the temptation that's always out there when you've got a tool like that, where you can, you don't have to worry about tape and only 24 tracks or whatever. I mean, you can put 70 or 80 tracks on one song if you want. So, I mean, we went out of our way to make sure that we basically, stopped our temptation, if we had one, to overdo anything on the record. And that includes all the way down the line from, okay, now I'm ready to take a solo. Should I overdub my rhythm underneath it, or should I just leave John to play rhythm underneath my solo, just like it is live? And, in 9 out of 10 times we said, no, let's just leave it, because this is the way it is live, and we're going to do it that way. So, and that's kind of the way we were thinking about it all the way down the line. And if there was a particular harmony in a song that was just me and one other guy singing it, that's how we left it, because we didn't want to put extra harmonies where it didn't sound right for the tune. And it was, those types of decisions were made for each individual song all the way down the line, because we knew that if it came off the way we wanted it to come off as we were putting it down in the rehearsal studio or in the studio, then that's how we wanted it to come off on the record.
Right. We did a great job. I mean, the production sounds great, Dave. I've got the CD, and we've been plugging it around here. We're going to put up links for you folks out there to buy the CD as well. Getting back to the live portion of what we were talking about, Dave, obviously yesterday and today has been in the game a long time, seen crowds from all over the world. The festival is something that we talk about around here, Dave, is something that's kind of sprung up and really been quite a shot in the arm, especially in the States. They've been doing it in Europe for a while now, but especially here in the States, it's been kind of a shot in the arm, I think, for our music. What's the difference in the crowds now, Dave, that you see, something that you see different or the same versus crowds in 1982?
You know what? I always see a similar vibe from the crowds nowadays to when we first started out. I mean, rock and roll crowds are rock and roll crowds. I don't see a big difference in that. They still love the same kind of music as they did back then. And in some ways, they're even more passionate about it now, because there are so many different styles of rock music out there that to some degree, some of these fans are like, damn, I mean, I just like the stuff that I grew up with, or the original kind of music as it was coming out the first time around, rather than these other versions of it. So, when they have the chance to see bands like us again, they really appreciate it, and they really show it. But yeah, I honestly, the fans